Hi, everyone. Sorry for the delay. We have quite a lot of people today, so we want to give everyone a couple minutes to join. But welcome to today's sales user training, and we will be covering WeOpportunity, a bit of a 101 kind of lesson on lead creation and management. My name is Brandon Vieira, and joining me today is Samantha Perry, who will be instructing us through. After this webinar, you will be able to create and manage prospecting plans and activities, create and manage leads, and view and run pipeline reports. As always, we want you to get the most out of your time today. So if you have any questions at any time throughout the webinar, don't be shy. Just type them right into the chat, even if it's because we've gone too fast and you want to see or hear something again. We have a lot to get through, so let's get started.
Awesome. Thanks, Brendan. Hello, everybody. Happy New Year to everyone. And we are kicking it off with WeOpportunity 101. So this is one of my favorite sessions, and we have a lot of you today. So thanks for making the time. So we are going to jump into, kind of the back to basics theme. I was just on a call with someone about building a qualified pipeline and just kind of how simple it is to, enter everything in and uh, work through that pipeline to qualify sales to eventually become quotes, and we estimate and quote anywhere. And so we're going to focus on creating new leads and the various ways that that can happen. So for a lot of you, I'm actually going to start with um, creating and managing leads. I'm going to circle back to prospecting. We did a pretty full length webinar about prospecting plans and creation in December. So when we circle back to that, I will reference it again to really go through the plan creation. But what I'm getting at is that leads can come from a varying sources, right? They're self-generated. You physically went and did some prospecting, either a cold call or you met somebody, or you're out driving around town. And then there's also inbound leads, whether they were generated from some sort of marketing effort, like a pay per click or some sort of advertising, your website, they saw your truck in the street, it was a referral from somewhere, right? And then, or of course, it's a current customer, and these leads are coming into the organization to then be divvied out and managed through. So when I first log in, you're going to see some quick stats and be able to work on what you have in your open pipeline. I personally would first go to lead management, and here's where you're going to be able to search and find any of your opportunities. We're going to go back, we're going to look at the WeOpportunity URG as well from running a pipeline report, and you'll be able to see a whole list of your leads there too. But to keep it real simple, if you're looking for a specific lead, like you are working at Samantha's Arcade, and you do a quick search, I don't think I have one in here, but let's do like Julie search. You're going to see, okay, yep, here's a lead I was working on for Julie's Pet Shop, and open up this lead and keep working on it. So it's going to open up, I'm sorry, my system has a ton of leads, so it's filtered by customer. Okay. So Julie's Pet Shop, I have this lead, open it up, and I'm going to go right into that lead versus creating something brand new, right? So now I have this lead open and I can continue to work on it. If I wanted to create a new lead, rather than viewing and searching, I would go to this new opportunity tab and I'm going to start something new. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to make a new lead for Dunkin' Donuts. Now, I recommend always search first. If they are a current customer or a lead has been entered in ever before, it will show up. You can search by customer name, by phone number, by address, by the person's first or last name, and if it's within the database, you will see it. If you are integrated with an accounting system like Sedona or ISM or Mastermind or something like that, you will see the account highlighted in orange and their customer number. So you know this is a current customer over in my accounting system. Now, if I wanted to do a new lead for current customer, current site, I can go ahead and click on the customer and site and hit go at the bottom. If I'm working for a current customer and a new site, you would click the customer name and not hit the site. You would just hit go, and it will prompt me to enter in a new site address. And if you've never done work with them before, so again, let's say like Samantha's Steakhouse, right? There's many other customers, but there's not Samantha's. So I'm going to create a brand new customer and not select one that I already have. So for the sake of today's demo, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to start a new customer opportunity for Samantha's Steakhouse. And it's asking me if I'm going to keep or pass this lead. Some of you won't see this pop up because you're always going to keep your own leads. And some of you might not see this pop up because you're always passing it to somebody else. But if you can do both, you'll see this. I'm going to act as the sales rep and I'm going to keep it. Now, I want this to be nice and formal, so I'm going to capitalize these here. And now we're going to fill in the rest of the required information. So I need a site address. I need a main point of contact. I'm going to say we're at 181 View Road in White Plains, New York. And there is a city-state zip code search. As you start typing, it'll boil down the state and the zip code and vice versa for city. We're working with Samantha Vieira, owner, and I have her phone number. Now you'll see some of the rest of the field. I'm the type of person, if you know the info, type it in. Once it's in there, it's in there. And again, it's a place to store it, and it'll move on to the quote, to the proposal, to eventually the accounting system. You don't have to retype this info. So let's say I'm going to put in Samantha at steak.com. One of the first drop downs we're going to encounter is contact type. It's not required of me, but if you do want to organize your contacts by type, you might have this drop down set up in your system. So we'll say they're the decision maker, and we'll say the address is the same as the site, and continue. So now we've officially created lead number 13944. It'll open a new tab for me. And so in WeOpportunity, much like your normal browser, you will see, and WeEstimate is the same, right? All these different tabs will open, and dependent on the tab that you're in, below is going to be, the different functionality for that tab. So if I come back to lead management, I'm back at the new opportunity screen, and I can create another new lead. So for someone picking up the phone and the phone rings again, I can always come back to this lead, but now I'm going to hit new opportunity again and create something new. Within lead number 13994, you have these 6 or 7 menus. The first tab is your basic opportunity info. This is the classic, how did the lead come in? Incoming call. Why did they call us? They saw our ad on Google. What's the market vertical? It's a restaurant. What is the type of sale or what they're interested in? It's going to be a new installation. So all of you have your own customized drop downs here, so they might look similar or a little different. And if they have a red star next to them, they are, the minimum requirements for you to select as you're qualifying this lead. Now, mine are particularly set up for physically, was it inbound, outbound type of effort? The source is why was the effort, right? It was a incoming call. Why? It was a referral from who? It was a trade show. What trade show? So think of it as supporting the origin. And then market and type of sale, I've seen a few different ways. Mine are literally the different market verticals. I've seen others where the market is resi or commercial, or it's more than 4,000 square feet, less than 4,000 square feet. So familiarize yourself with your drop downs. So you, and if there's anything you think crucially missing to these drop downs, let your system admins know. And then type of sale is pretty typical. Is it new? Is it service? Is it upgrade? Is it a takeover? Later, when you get to a quote, you'll be supported with more selections like job type and system type. So maybe all you're going to say here is it's a new install, and later when you go to the quote, you'll say it's an access control system. But again, just familiarize yourself with the drop downs. Now, the rest of the fields are here purely if dependent on your sales cycle or maybe even the type of lead that you're working with. Residential, small business, I might not keep it a lead very long. I might go straight to pushing this over to a quote. However, if you are going to be kind of qualifying this lead a little further, the rest of the fields might be very beneficial for you. So I'm just going to go through them. Estimated budget is just that. This customer has a budget of $1,000. They're probably going to do a monitoring agreement with us. I bet you they'll be about $50 a month. This is purely for pipeline budgetary purposes. We're going to do an alarm system, and I'm going to make that as my job title. This, again, is the title of the project. It will eventually be the title of the job, and it'll eventually be the title on the front page of your proposal. So, again, you're not typing things in multiple places. It's just one and done. I have a few due dates. Maybe the customer says, I want this quote by the end of the week. Or if you're someone who participates in bids and RFPs, you might have a very specific date and time to have this submitted. Estimated close date for yourself, maybe your sales manager is requiring this. I think this is going to close again by the end of the week. Stage I'm going to come back to. We're going to keep this a lead for a little longer. Pipeline. This is kind of a hot or cold metric drop down. This is one I've seen, again, very different for different companies. The purpose of this is to define where am I at in the pipeline, how hot or cold am I, and it's a percentage along with a definition. So part of this is, hey, we're at 20%. Well, what does that mean? 20% of my organization means we've only had first contact, whereas maybe 25% is where I'm doing the site walk, right? Me personally, I have first meeting, discovery call, demo, budget, formal presentation, right? So this, again, every system is a little different, but it's a nice drop down to qualify. And I'll show you when we go to the reporting. Not only do I have 100 leads, but these are all in this phase and these are all in this phase. Two other options that are here. You do have installation date. This won't actually, make any installation date happen somewhere else, but it's a good date filler to just say the customer would like to have this installed next Tuesday. Someone later on down the road can then come back, see the, wish list installation date and utilize that. And then next action, again, I have often don't see someone using all of these drop downs. Your organization often will pick, hey, these are the fields that us at ABC Security are going to use. But this is just another like pipeline. What next action am I on? Am I on, just a follow-up phase? Am I doing the on-site meeting? Have I sent the proposal? It's just a way to click, a quick, hey, next thing I'm going to do is a site visit and save. Now, a few other pieces before we move on from this screen. If you are sharing a project with somebody, you can see any other sales reps you can share this lead with. You'll be the owner still, and they will be someone to share. So they will, be notified when events happen. They can add notes to the lead. They'll have visibility to it. Not everyone uses this, but we do have an opportunity to create questionnaires. Think of it as a way to make custom fields in the lead. As you're qualifying this, whether you're literally answering the phone and passing to a sales rep, or you are the sales rep and you're going to ask the customer certain questions, this is a good place to store that rather than writing War and Peace in the notes section and having to read through all your notes. So are you interested in home automation? Yes. Do you currently have a system? No. Right? Now, this is a very simple questionnaire, but I've seen some much more complicated ones. Or not complicated, but all the detail and questions that you need. All right, after we've moved on from here, remember to hit save. We're going to go to the notes pad. Now, this is just purely a place to enter your notes. So new lead came in, saw our sticker in the window, want pricing for a system doing site walk tomorrow. Now, one thing I will mention, especially when I get to the notes area, and I'll make sure we go through it today, is we do have a mobile app for your phone called WeSuite Go. Almost everything we're doing today is in that app. And one of the things I like is I use speak to text for my notes right on my phone. So as I'm going to an appointment or leaving an appointment, I'll use the microphone, speak in my notes, and it goes right into the notepad. I'm pretty religious about notes. Anytime I've done any interaction with a customer, send them an email, called and left a voicemail, I'll just pop in a quick note. What I like about that is I have the history and it also satisfies this date and time stamp for the last activity I've done in this lead. If that's something that your manager is tracking, or also me personally, I like to see my leads by the last time I've interacted with them. It will also user stamp it, so if anyone else adds notes in your lead, you will be notified of it. This notify owner box would be on if you're not the owner. So if the front desk said customer called and canceled, needs to reschedule, as they added the note, you would also be notified via email of that. Products and services, check and see if it's set up in your system. If it's not, no problem. But the purpose of this was just a quick ad to say, again, to save from writing a lot of notes. The customer's interested in residential fire alarm, security system, and monitoring. So I'm literally just
Hey,
picking from a list of what somebody is
Sam,
interested in. Yeah.
we have a couple questions
Oh, sure.
on
Yeah.
the in the
Happy to.
tab. I'm not sure if you got to the first one, but I'll go through them in order. The first one was Wayne, and he said, "How do we set up a reminder for the leads so we know when to follow up?"
Great. So that's going to be the next tab we're going to get to, which is the task and calendar, where you'll actually set an appointment for a task to follow up with somebody. And the other would be from the reporting standpoint, running all report of all my leads based on when I've interacted with them. So it will remind me, oh, I need to, contact such and such.
And then the next one was, "Can you search on notes?"
Currently, there is not a search on notes. No, there's nowhere I'd be able to search it. I do know on the report it'll show you your latest note, and that could be exported to Excel, and you could search that way. But I don't think that's the way that you're really thinking.
And Wayne, I did see your message on can we make the screen larger? I actually responded through chat, so you should see the answer there. You should be able to hide your camera layout up at the top of your screen in the center. It should say active cameras. If you click that and then change the option to hide everyone, that should get rid of that top bar and make the actual shown and shared screen larger for you, just in case you didn't see my explanation there. But okay, we should be all caught up now, Sam.
Awesome. Okay. So yeah, notes really is a good place to go. Again, I'm pretty religious about notes. If I have leads that have been going on for a long time, I'll go back and see, yep, I spoke with them this time, that time. We did 4 demos. This is, the important information about them. Um, it is all organized. Like if I added a bunch more notes or even large paragraphs of notes, it's all going to be uh, organized by date and time. So filtering through your notes, yes, you'll have to read through them, but you should be able to orientate yourself pretty quickly. Um, for tasks, that's where we're literally going to next. This is where you're going to see a sync of your calendar. So you'll see your upcoming tasks and appointments. There's kind of a split screen here. Tasks can either be, in a list view or on the calendar view. I personally like to work from my calendar, so I'll go ahead and see, my syncing calendar, whether you're Outlook or Google. And I want to say, we're going to go visit the customer tomorrow at 10, and we're going to go do a job walk, or I'm going to give them a follow-up call or something like that. This task type list is custom for each of you. And then I'll go ahead and save that. So it will save the site, the start and end time, this customer name, and I just have to pick a task type. You could invite other users if you want. And so again, those could remind them to do something. Once I make that appointment on the calendar, so you can see it's on the calendar view and it's also above as a task that I need to do and complete. And so I can go ahead and edit it. I can complete this task and maybe I can schedule another task and I'll do it from this side instead. Add task. And we're going to say it's going to be next Tuesday and we're going to do a proposal review. And I'll add that to the calendar and save. Now, another kind of tip, which you might, for those of you who wanted something a little more advanced, is on the dashboard, you do have this bucket called untouched leads. You can define in your My Settings up in the top right, if you hit your name in My Settings, you can default some default settings for yourself, like syncing your calendar and things. But one of the dashboard settings is this untouched bucket. I have mine set, if I haven't touched a lead in 72 hours, have them land in that bucket. It doesn't literally notify me or ping me of anything, but it will be in that bucket. So when I log in, I'll be able to see that. And then the other
Hey, Sam,
piece
we
with
have another question.
yeah.
It's from Madeline, and she's asking, does the site schedule show other appointments not having to do with this specific client or lead?
Yes. So the calendar will show you, all of your appointments, and then you also will have, on the list. Again, I don't have a lot of stuff here as Joe, but you would see all your busy blocked times that you have pertaining to any other leads, and then be able to create tasks for this lead. Or there's also settings in the calendar, which I'm going to make note to see if I can come back to look at your whole global calendar and create appointments, not lead by lead. Hopefully that makes sense. Joe, personally, my demo guy doesn't have a whole lot going on, right? But if I had my calendar syncing and I had a lot of, tasks and different opportunities, you'd see that full list. And then you can filter by, oh, I only want to see leads, tasks for this lead or for everybody or, vice versa with the filters above. You can also look at other people's calendars if you have visibility to them as well. Okay, now the next tab is the customer info. This is purely updating any info you've already added. So if you needed to fix or change the customer's name, if the site address or you want to add a billing address, you're going to do that here. So let's say, we're going to put in a new billing address and it's the same as the site. So now I've got site and billing here. You will be prompted to do that later when you go to create a quote anyway. And then you have your contacts. So Samantha Vieira, she was the owner and the phone number. I can hit the edit pencil and make changes, or I can add additional contacts. So if I said, well, I'm also working with her husband, Robert Vieira, and he's also owner, and he's her partner for Samantha's Steak Shop. Phone number, and that's it. So again, you can store all your contacts here. One person has to be the main point of contact. So if Samantha's not going to be the signer, but her husband is, I'm going to change Robert to the main point of contact. And now he is the person who's the main contact of the lead and who will be the main contact of the job and eventually the proposal that goes out. Last two tabs here, history will just keep a running history of the lead as it goes. So this you'll see important events like tasks that were added and completed, assignment to salespeople. If I lost the lead and now it's coming back, if a salesperson left and it's been reassigned to you, and you'll see all that history. And send message not used very often, but the purpose of this was to send a outgoing read-only email to your prospect to say, hey, Samantha Vieira, thanks for your call. Brandon, the technician, will be there tomorrow at 3. Okay. Now all that's going to do is send her an outgoing note. It's not an email. She's not going to respond to it. It's basically like getting a confirmation from a restaurant reservation. Okay. Now, the alternate way I've seen this is some people, you can also add attachments to this. So some people have used this as in a different way. I'm going to send an email to myself or to other users in the system and maybe say, attached are all the pictures from the job walk. And now when I send that out and it's attached, and let's say I'll send it to myself and send. Now pretend I added a bunch of attachments. That message will then store in the history, and I'd be able to see the sent message and any attachments that I sent along with it. So, kind of one of those features that I've seen over the years people utilize, for their own needs. Now, if you were not going to keep this lead after you've filled in as much as you can figure out, and you're going to pass this on to somebody else, you'd see this pass lead, and you would see the people who you can pass to. Now, my email's not set up, so ignore that. That was the message trying to send. So in the pass options, I can pass to either a salesperson, an office, or a group. Offices and groups just mean one or more people will get notification a lead is awaiting assignment. At the end of the day, you really need a final salesperson to assign it to. If I had scheduled a task for Peter, he would move up to the top of the list because it would be assumed he would get the lead. And then again, pass lead, and then that goes on to the sales rep. I'm going to keep this lead, however, and I'm going to come back to the main opportunity info. And if I was ready to move forward with this lead, we would change the stage to a quote. So, important piece here, I'm going to close this lead. I'm going to pretend it's, tomorrow. And I did my site walk, and I'm going to search up Samantha again, and I'm going to open up the lead I was working on yesterday.
Hey Sam,
Yep.
we've got 3 questions in the queue right now. Do you want to
Sure.
get them out of the way now, or do you want to?
Let me finish my pushing this lead over, and then I'm going to stop and we'll focus on questions.
Okay, just didn't want to let them pile up too much.
Yeah. No worries. Keep filling in questions. I'm happy to answer any questions. So I'm back in the lead. Maybe I'm going to add notes, and I'm going to say, completed job walk, client wants a formal proposal. I'm also going to go and complete that task. My other task I did, complete. Now the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to the home base opportunity info, and you're going to change the stage from an opportunity to a request for quote. This is that trigger point that turns this lead into a quote in WeEstimate or Quote Anywhere. So by selecting RFQ, which stands for request for quote, I'll hit save. It's going to tell me once you go forward, you can't go back. No problem. Reason being is once you push it to a quote, you have to win or lose the quote in order to affect winning or losing the lead. And so now it's asking me a few more questions. This is basically the equivalent of that yellow new project button in WeEstimate and in the new project button in Quote Anywhere. It knows all this info so far. Now I'm going to select job type, sales type, system type, again, dependent on your required information. Billing address is the same, and we're going to create this in, let's say, Quote Anywhere. Whether it's Quote Anywhere or WeEstimate, doesn't matter. The job lands in the same place. Now, this lead number just turned into this job number, and I'd see that job sitting in Quote Anywhere on my desktop, right? So now I'm in job 21902-1-0, and I'm ready to add parts and pieces to my folder. And it is also sitting on my dashboard in WeEstimate, right on the top of my pile, Samantha Steak Shop, so I can keep going from here. So, I'm going to pause there and answer some questions.
Alrighty, so the last question, well, the oldest question we've got is from Wayne. Can we import contacts from Outlook?
Yes, so there's 2 ways to do that. One is when I'm creating a new lead, you have this import contact right in the lead creation form. This would allow you to search a contact, and as long as you're syncing with your Outlook or Google, Google profile or Outlook profile, you will be able to search on your Outlook contacts and import them in. And vice versa, if WeSuite's the first time you're entering it, you can export that contact card out and it'll create it in Outlook or Google. The other way to do that is there is just a straight import utility in WeOpportunity if you wanted to mass import leads or contacts, and then they'd all be in the system to create leads against. I won't go into all the details of that. There's a video of how to do this on our Teachable portal, but you basically create a CSV or an Excel, upload it into the utility, and it'll walk you through mapping first name to first name, last name to last name, and then that would import in Excel. But for that live import from Outlook, you're going to use import contact within the new opportunity or even an existing opportunity. If I were to go back and open up Samantha's Steakhouse again and go to the customer info and add a new contact, I can import it from Outlook. Or export, you have this export contact as well. Next question, Brandon.
Okay, so from Katie, we have, will you guys ever make it so that the customer can respond and you can keep track of back and forth emails?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think that is coming. We are working on a kind of WeOpportunity 2.0, if you will, similarly to what we did with Quote Anywhere. WeOpportunity will be getting a whole new refresh, new interface, and with that, we will be able to, build from the ground up new feature set that is definitely highly asked integration with email. So can't answer matter of factly, but I do know that's something we're trying to do. I think even at minimum, having this send message today, I think it comes from like, no reply at wesuite.com or something. But even to just have that message coming from Samantha.Perry at WeSuite, then if the customer does respond to it, I'm going to get it in my regular inbox. That doesn't necessarily mean it's tracked in WeOpportunity, but at least the emails, can be tracked and responded to. So not yet, but it should be coming.
Okay, so our next question from Lee is, can prospect data be imported into the system to utilize this as a full prospecting tool?
Yes, so similar to Wayne's question, you can import using the import utility, which is, and not everybody might have the user rights to this. Your system admin might either help to facilitate this for you or do it with you, but there is an import utility under settings, which would allow you to import a list of leads or prospects for you to, start calling and managing and qualifying. So if I do upload an Excel file, like let's say I have this demo of Excels and I have this 500 leads on an Excel, that Excel file will come in here. And to be honest, I don't know if that's a good file, but it will come in and then I'd start mapping like to like fields. So WeSuite.teachable.com, this will have it here too. For those of you that have never seen this before, this is our online video academy. You can create a free login and take courses on our class, take classes and courses on our systems. Under WeOpportunity, there is a class for the lead import here. I'm pretty sure. Yep, importing a lead list, 6 minutes and 51 seconds. Watch that. And it will go through importing this list. So basically, here's that Excel that comes in. It makes all the rows of the Excel, and you're going to basically map city to city, zip code to zip code. These drop downs map each field to each column, And then when you hit this import button in, you have to just select a pass option. So I want to pass all these leads to Wayne, hit import, and then Wayne, you'd be auto assigned these 20 leads to call. Any other questions, Brandon?
Yep, we got one more from Danielle. If we have already converted opportunity to RFQ, will edits we make to the customer information in WeOpportunity populate over to WeEstimate?
So in most situations, yes. One of the things to keep in mind is that this lead number, if we go back and open Samantha's Steak Shop, lead number 13944 created bin number 21902. And then within that bin, you could have J1234. So there are some reasons as to why that translation's not happening. The main point of contact from J1 could be different than J2, but for the overwhelming majority of you, you're only creating one job in a bin. And if you are creating another job, it's the same contact, or you're maybe just pricing out options. I would say rule of thumb would be to edit the information in WeEstimate, and that should backtrack, or again, what if you're in the quote and then change that contact card in WeOpportunity. But I would say the same is true going forward, WeOpportunity to WeEstimate. If you're finding certain situations in which that's not happening, I would really like it to be submitted to us as a support ticket. So it likely is something that needs to be tracked down and rectified if it's not matching. There are some situations that it won't, but again, this is kind of more pertaining to having multiple jobs under the bin than the main job. Hopefully that makes sense. But if you change somebody's email because it was misspelled, that contact card exists in the system as that contact, and it would change in the other system as well. It's all one database. And accounting contacts, for those who don't know, if you see your contact is all in red, that means it's mine's not. But if I were to open up this customer, and same as, so if it's red like this, or in WeOpportunity, I think the fields are just grayed out completely. The master data is in the accounting system, and it has to be fixed there for WeSuite to then see it. So yeah. Okay. Any other
We had
questions?
two more questions come in. Yep.
Okay.
So from Jacqueline, in the future, will there be a spot where attachments can be uploaded rather than having to send an email with the attachments once the lead is created?
Yeah, that's another, yeah, because this has been, send message has been so highly used for that, I would say that yes, in this next generation product, you'd be able to do that. Again, I think the first release of it is going to very much match and convert the current functionality. But the idea is that new features would be added to that to just make it better. And so I would say so far what's been asked has definitely been asked a number of times, and the plan is to include that. Um, really, not to really go down a rabbit hole for everybody, but we're trying to really merge the concept that is the WeSuite project, whether it's a lead or a quote or a negotiation or sold, it's all one project. So the idea is that if you're uploading documents to the lead, those documents are also important for the quote and so on. So the idea is that it's going to help merge and facilitate. There's an opportunity, and that opportunity itself goes through all these stages until you eventually close it. So there's not, so much switching between WeOpportunity and the quote itself. So not to get you all too excited, but that's the goal.
Then we have another question from Jane. When you upload a list as prospects, is it possible to add a task date to tell me to follow up?
Let's see. I don't know if that's one of the options within the import utility dropdown. I have a feeling it's not, but you could add it as a note, but it's not going to add you a reminder for yourself. Currently, you'd have to go in Call the lead, set yourself a task. Hey, I went and called them, and now I'm going to call them again, tomorrow. It's not going to auto assign tasks for you, no. But definitely something we can put on the to-do list. Any other questions,
Right.
Brendan? Are we good to move forward?
Yes, from Katie. Going off the questions regarding the contact matching when changed in WeEstimate, it does not seem to change the lead when the contact is changed on the job. Less of a question, just more of kind of letting you know.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No, I mean, Brandon, let's make note of that offline and kind of get a confirmation of that. I believe that as the contact card is the contact card, if you're changing the email, it should, be changing wherever else that contact card is being used. So we can look into that, Katie, and get back to you and see if there is good reason for that, or if no, there's something wrong there that needs to be resolved. Okay. So couple other tasks on our agenda today was about prospecting and plan activities. For those of you that are using the prospecting plan and dashboard, again, I went through a pretty high level or really detailed demonstration in December about how to create a plan and track activities. I will give you the cliff notes of it today. The point of the prospecting plan is for self-generated activities. So I think I timed this out. So let me log off and refresh this real quick. So if you have inbound or leads that you are self-generating, uh, often organizations will have those start as prospects that then turn into leads. The reason for this is that a prospect activity that you do uh, has very little fields and requirements, right? It's not really a full lead or opportunity yet. I'm just cold calling 50 people or I'm knocking on a bunch of doors. I don't want to make 50 leads. These aren't qualified opportunities. These are just really cold prospects. The purpose of this, there's some quota attainment calculation building, there's customer profile creation, there's activities and then goals. I'm going to make 100 cold calls and I want to get 20 appointments, and those are my January goals, so I'll save that. And then you're eventually going to start tracking against those goals. So if anybody, does something similar like this for work or at the gym or something like that, you're going to start tracking your activity and the system's going to start tracking, reporting back what's happening and what are the achievements that you're making, right? Maybe you don't make 100 cold calls, but you start seeing what the conversion rate is and really start putting some facts and figures to your prospecting. And then even not only are you getting the leads, but are they turning into quotes? What are the dollar values? Like, this can get really nice dependent on how much work and effort you want to put into it. The basics of this is that you are going to create some basic activities. I'm going to do a cold call. Great. Here's a list of other activities that my guy does, right? He does cold calls, he reaches out on social media, he goes to volunteer events, my kids dance class, wherever you're meeting people and you want to put effort into tracking leads, or really where do you later want to run a report and say, great, all my leads came from X, or oh wow, the activity I do every month, I go meet Bob from ABC electrical contractors. He's given me 30 leads this year. Once you set those activities, regardless if you use all the other tools, really all you have to do then is use the prospecting dashboard. The reason you would use this and not go to straight to lead is you don't want it to be a lead yet. You have no idea if this person is interested or not. You'll click new activity and you'll see the form is much simpler than the lead form. You're not filling in customer, company, site, origin, market, type of sale, pipeline. You're just saying, I made a cold call to Dunkin' Donuts. Um, I happen to have contact required, but you don't even have to. I tried, Tiffany Smith and this phone number. and I left voicemail. Okay, save. Now that's an activity. It's a cold call I did. It's in the system, but it's not a lead. It's just a cold prospect. If I were to come back to my prospecting plan and look at my goals, you're going to see, hey, I now made 2 cold calls of the 100 I'm supposed to do. Now, if Tiffany called me back or I call her again, right, and I said, well, I'm going to do another follow up and I'm going to say, I, call Tiffany again in a week and save that. Now that's a follow up and it's something that I need to do on my calendar. Now, if Tiffany calls back or I call her and she says, yeah, I am interested in a system, I would open it up. And now we're going to use this create lead button. I'm going to say, great, I got a hit. I'm going to create the lead and we'll save and open this. Once you do that, it's going to move this automatically to becoming a lead. And now I'm going to fill in the rest of the information because it's pertinent at this point. So lead number 13945 was just created. It'll open it up for me. And now I've auto created a lead from that very bare bones prospect I did. And now I'm going to fill in the rest of the blanks. So hopefully you guys understand kind of the difference between creating a new lead and going in with all that information versus creating I'm going to throw in just a quick prospect and see if it sticks. Some of you doing a lot of new business or you're out hunting leads, prospecting is probably your way to go. Those of you who are, getting a lot of inbound leads or leads passed to you, you'll probably, you won't be doing that as much and you'll just go right into, the lead already created and filling in the rest of the information. But we wanted to make sure that that was part of today's class. Now, lastly, before I get into reporting, if anyone's not noticed, you do have this quick create button at the top, this big blue plus sign. If I click that, it's going to circumvent a few clicks for me to get right to new opportunity. And so this is another good way to just say, yep, new lead for, create a new lead and then just start filling in your new lead form. All right. Before we end today, I did want to talk about running a pipeline report or running a report in general about what you have in your funnel. If you don't have this on or you're not using all the ins and outs of it, I do have, again, a prior webinar as well as a full detailed class on Teachable. If you go to, I need to close it, wesuite.teachable.com. There's a whole course about reporting, how to run reports, the standard reports, a cheat sheet, a guide. Watch this half an hour worth of videos and you'll be an expert. But the basics here that if I run the WeOpportunity URG, URG stands for Universal Reporting Grid, I can quickly run a report on my open leads. So I want to see leads for 2024 that have been updated this year that are in, any of these statuses. Maybe I just want to see my leads and quotes, no sold. Refresh. And now I'm going to see a summary, which is just, I also have other people on in my report. This select my employees button. If you manage other people, turn other people on. But otherwise, let me turn off everybody else and just do me. I, Joe, have 3 leads so far this year. 2 are in a lead phase, 1 is in a quoting phase, and this one has some estimated budgetary values. The details are going to go into the details of the lead, and you can see the different columns. Now, there's a column chooser, so just like you filtered above, you're going to filter below what is the data that you care about. So today on our call, we decided we wanted last update date. Maybe I don't care about the owner because they're all me. I don't care about the source either. I have the number, the customer name, the budget, the title. Maybe I don't want origin. I want the price. I want the pipeline, and I want the next upcoming task or what is my, thing that I need to do. We'll maybe turn on their phone and email. I put those on a lot because now I can run right through this and I can say, well, you can easily see I have no phone and email for some of these leads, so I'm going to get right on that and add in an email for these people. But now I can customize this. Say I want email up in the front. I want, where'd my phone number go? I want phone number on here too. Oh, last note's a good one. Where's my phone number? Okay, regardless, turn on phone number, turn on, last note and last update date, I think are really good ones. So now, again, move this around in a way I like. And let's say sort by last update date. And great, now it's in order by the last time I called them. Lastly, I want to save this so I don't have to do this again. Add a view. I'm going to call it my open pipeline or whatever you want to call it. Make it your default. And now the next time you log into here and open up this screen, this view is saved and you can run it, real time on everything that you've been working on or has been assigned to you. Now, if you want to make various types of reports, like I want to see all my sold stuff, or, it's a perfect one for now. All my lost leads from last year. Refresh. Well, of course, Joe, you've got nothing. He loses nothing. But Samantha Perry loses leads, so I run this every year. And let's open up this date range to like 2020 or something. Okay, so there's 7 leads lost in the system. Great. Maybe I care about different stuff with lost leads. I want to see the market vertical, the city and state, the city and zip they're in, where the lead came from, and what the prices were, and we estimate, right? The actual sale or the lost sale, lost RMR. And again, maybe turn off some of this other stuff you don't care about. But the idea here is you're running another nice report on loss, so I can say, great, now I could call back all these leads and say, hey, I gave you a quote last year, are you still happy with such and such? And, really utilizing the reporting and the URG to see what you're working on, see low-hanging fruit, remind you of people you haven't called in a while, really helps to kind of organize everything and find things quickly. So now I could save this as a view and I could call it my lost ops. And now again, next time I come in here, I could run that report from my list and I don't have to rebuild it all. So again, I wanted to get a lot into this webinar. My main focus was creating leads and pushing them to quotes. But I hope I've put in some nice thoughts and feedback about utilizing prospecting, utilizing the reporting to give yourself even more tools in the bag here for qualifying your pipeline. So are there any other questions, Brendan, before we close off?
Yes, we have a couple questions. We have from Lee, on the prospecting portion, can you track specific customer info to search later? For example, inspection due date or competitor information.
So competitor information is definitely in the lead. So if I go to one of these lost leads, right, here's a lead that Joe lost last year in 2022 for Paul Jenkins, open it up, you can see that it was lost, and it was lost because he wasn't ready to purchase, right? When you lose a lead, it will ask you why are you losing the lead, and you can select this, or you could create a drop down of why you lost a lead. So if I said lost to a competitor, in my system, actually, I list out what the competitors are, right? I lost this lead to ADT, to, Convergent, whatever. Then later, when you run that report in the URG, you could say, okay, here's all my lost leads and the loss reason. That's one of the fields I can report on right here. So now I can run by loss region, filter only the ones I lost due to competition, and Sorry, it's right here. Filter by the loss to competition, and now I'm going to call back those leads, or maybe you'll send them out an email blast or something. Really
Okay,
good
and we
question.
have one more. We have one more question from Bill.
Okay.
Are you able to update the opportunity from the URG?
So, no, but you can open them from the URG. There's a pencil right on the left hand side of the whole menu. And so if I hit the pencil, it'll open up the lead, and then I can edit it and then come back to the grid, and then I can refresh it. So here, like I just edited Dana's Donuts, and I'm gonna say, called, still not interested. Now, if I come back to the report and I refresh it, it won't say last updated September 2022. It'll say last updated today, just now. And
So Lee, oh, sorry.
yeah,
Okay,
no,
Lee had a follow-up question saying, can it be productive and it's something we can enter before we quote to follow up at the right time of the year in regard to his last question about the prospecting portion, tracking specific info.
yeah, I mean, I personally, when I've done this, to be, I think proactive is probably what you are saying here, is that if I lost this, so Dana's Donuts, right? I'm going to open this up and let's say, okay, I lost it to a competitor, and what the competitor was, right? Oh, I'm in contract with ADT until November. Great. Then I'd go to my tasks, I'd add a task, and I would say, I'm going to call them, you know, August 1st, just to check in with them, add that to the calendar, and now it's kind of set. Oh, I have to put a task, follow up, and then save. So now it's kind of a set it and forget it, and then later when this task comes up or I run a report, I can see, oh, I have this upcoming task to proactively reach out to this lost lead. All right, awesome. Well, a lot of really good questions. Hopefully this helped everybody, and if anyone wants to reach out to me directly, feel free to. I'm a resident WeOp expert, so happy to help you guys here if you need. And really, definitely watch these videos on Teachable and watch back this recording if you'd like to. I know, Brandon, I'm uh, going over what you're about to say for next month, but just wanted to put that out there. So,
No worries.
all right.
Okay, we're ready to close it out. Don't have any questions coming through, so all good, Sam?
Yeah, all good.
Alrighty, so thank you everyone for joining us today. It was great to get all those questions, as Sam said. It's always great when people are interactive and, it shows you guys are paying attention and curious about what's going on. So we do really appreciate that. And we are hopeful that you were comfortable with what we reviewed today. It was quite information packed. If you need to refer to this webinar again, it will be posted on our website by this time tomorrow at wesuite.com/webinars. You can find that under the training webinars page under the education menu. Next month's webinar for sales users is on February 20th and will be a look into using Quote Anywhere and the site survey to close more deals. Take care and have a great day, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.